Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode we had free agency and we started up the season simulation, and as you can see, it's been kind of an interesting year so far by comparison to the past years. We are 19-19-2, so we've been losing a lot of games by comparison to past years, because like a lot of the other years that we've had, we've been like a decent amount above 500. I don't think I've ever remembered a season where we were actually right around 500, but at the moment we are literally a couple points back of a playoff spot. As you can see, the Sens have the last playoff spot in the division. Well, actually, it's not in the division, it's a wildcard spot with 41 points in 38 games. We've played 40 games and we only have 40 points. So we need to kind of have a good, like, in the last half of the season if we want to be a competitive playoff team, because also the Devils have 40 points in 38 games, and then there's the Penguins who have 39 points. We're in kind of a scary situation at the moment. Like, there's a lot of teams fighting to get into that wild card spot, so we're gonna have to hope this team could turn it around in the next half of the season. I think the main problem with our team so far this season has been probably our penalty kill unit, because it did have some minus chemistry, and then also this third line hasn't been great. Like, they are a nice young third line, but the plus minus has not been good, especially for Phil Powell and Michael Wong. So we could always adjust these lines a little bit. I think I could always put Petrovic up and put Wong down to the fourth line, because Wong's more of a grinder, to see how that works out. But yeah, the chemistry is not really that great on our forward core. It could be because we have a different coach than we did like 3 seasons ago. But I don't know what the problem is with this team. And then also our free agent signing in Dylan Nolan hasn't been that great, I would say. He had 42 points in 62 games with the LA Kings last year, but in total he had like 55 points that season. He's on pace probably for only like a 44-point season, and he's not been shooting that well. So I don't know what the problem is, if we're just a different team than he's used to, but this is the most ice time he's ever averaged in his career, yet he's just not been that good. So I don't know what we want to do in terms of Dylan Nolan, but at the deadline we might try and look to upgrade maybe something on forward wise, just to help us out a little bit if we can afford it. And then also with Savonin being injured right now, our defense is not that great. I wouldn't mind once Savonin comes back to put him in back here, and then also try and find a new top 6 defenseman, because Rayom might have to be our depth defenseman, and then we could send down Yakubov, because Rayom's a minus 14 in 40 games, and he's not been a good defenseman in terms of like defensive play in his entire career, because in his first season in Minnesota he was a minus 9, but this year so far he's been really bad defensively. So we might have to try and find somebody else to play alongside Larson to help solidify our defensive team a bit, and that might happen in this episode, because I'll probably sim the rest of the regular season in this episode. And then our penalty kill unit, I think it wasn't doing that well, but it doesn't have the worst chemistry, so like I adjusted it a little bit. I don't remember exactly what I changed, but I remember putting Stewart on the penalty kill, because for some reason he was not on the penalty kill, and he's got a plus 24 rating, so we decided to put him out there because he's a very good defensive defenseman. And yeah, so anyways, we do have a few comments to go over before we maybe start simulating a little bit more to see how this team is, and then we might make some trades if we need to. But we do have comments from WMRA and from Hoxan. The first one from WMRA says, there's a Sjogren guy from LA who looks decent. Pittsburgh also has some prospects worth looking at: Scrastons, Long Eye, and Donovan. Now, the thing is, I don't really want to be trading for prospects right now. This team is supposed to be competitive, so I don't really want to be trading my guys for prospects to like build this team around for the future. Like, I feel like right now this team has to be competitive, so we're not going to be trading probably for any of those guys. In the offseason, maybe if this team falls apart somehow, maybe we could trade for them, but right now I don't see any use for trading for prospects, because like if we look, Sjogren's pretty decent, 74 at 20, top 6 forward potential, but I still don't think I really would like to trade for, yeah, because he was the 2nd round pick as well, and usually 2nd round picks that are top 6 I find always don't pan out, but you never know. So yeah, we're not going to trade for any of these guys that you suggested, WMRA, but it's only because I don't think I want this team to go back into rebuild. Even though we're fighting for a playoff spot right now, like I think this team should be a competitive team, and I'm hoping that we could just turn it around in the next like few months and maybe get into the playoffs just barely. And then who knows, maybe we could be the cheese team to win the Stanley Cup. That's my hope, at least. And then he was also showing Scrastons and Long Eye, who are both also top 6 forward prospects, and both 19 look pretty decent as well. Scrassens was another second rounder. Long Eye was a first rounder. So just in case any of you guys wanted to see that. And Donovan, I think, was a... Yeah, I just saw him, I think. Where is Donovan? I think he's like a top 4 prospect, if I'm not mistaken. Why is he not in the rookie skaters, or am I just blind? I literally just woke up not too long ago, so like I could be blind. Let's just look at defense. They had Donovan on the block, didn't they? Huh, that is weird. Wait, maybe he's not a defenseman. Maybe he is a forward. Donovan, where are you? I remember seeing you when I was looking last time. Like, I was looking before I recorded, like... Huh, oh well, whatever. And then the next comment we have is from HawksFan88. He says, I think you just need to fix your PK lines, especially on your 5-on-3. Swap guys around and try and get some better chemistry. And I also asked if we should be making any trades and stuff like that for guys to help out with our PK. He says, I think you already have the pieces to fix your penalty kill. Just play around with the lines and see if you could actually fix the chemistry. So that's what we kind of did. I don't know if it's going to make much of an adjustment because it's kind of hard to... Because we don't really have a lot of guys that actually fit our penalty killing unit. Like, most of the people that are on our penalty kill right now, like, defensively, they both fit. But the 2 forwards are both in yellow. And then same with here. It's kind of even to an extent on who fits the penalty kill and who doesn't. So, and then this unit still has, like, a -2. But with adding Coley Mine in there, I'm hoping that maybe they could be a good defensive line because Coley Mine has got 90 defensive awareness and stuff like that, and his stick checking is pretty decent. Rayo might be the problem though with the penalty kill. Even though he's a defensive defenseman, he's just not been good. So we might have to get rid of Rayo, I think, or make him our depth defenseman and then send in Yakupov or something. And then we could always trade for a new top 6 defenseman if this team continues to struggle. And also hopefully Punovs can turn it around because Punovs has been not too great so far. He's 15-15-1. And look at that save percentage in goals against. It's not good. So hopefully he could turn it around, or else, yeah, maybe Francis Nguyen would be our starter because Nguyen's just been a lot better than he has. Okay, let's sell a little bit and see if this team could win some games because I'd like to get the rest of the season done in this episode if possible, even the trade deadline. Maybe we'll go right up to the trade deadline, who knows. But I want to see how this team simulates a bit. So let's go to the 15th and see if this team could start winning a little bit more games than losing. And there's 2 wins. Okay, I'd like to take that. 3 wins, 4 wins. Okay, there we go. That's better. I don't know if it's because we made those line adjustments or what. Ramjasin's back for the AHL, which is good news because he could technically play in the NHL, but I have not played him there yet. So Fitzpatrick needs to come out of the lineup. There you go. There we go. That is a very good start to the month. So this team has now turned it around completely. I don't know if it's going to stay like that, but we have won how many straight games? 6 straight games to start this month. So I don't know if those penalty kill adjustments are the main reason, or maybe those line change adjustments or what, but this team is all of a sudden playing pretty good. It's like a completely different team this episode. Let's go to the 1st of February, and then we'll see where we are in the standings. As Jose Stewart goes down with a strained hamstring. That is a huge loss on defense. We'll go replace player. And Savonen's out right now too, I think. And Dingman just got injured with a concussion. Are you kidding me? After all those wins in a row, we literally just lose 2 big players. Dingman's a big player to lose. We got to call up Fitzpatrick. He's going to go back down through waivers. Who's playing defense though right now? We don't have actually another depth defenseman. Yeah, so I'm going to call up Ramjas Singh because he doesn't go through waivers. Yeah, he doesn't go through waivers, so we'll call him up. The main reason is just because I really need to get somebody that's actually a defenseman into the lineup, especially with how close the standings were when we last looked. We'll just throw Fitzpatrick to the top line. And wherever there's forward problems, here we will go with... Wait, who was the defenseman that was playing though in exchange? Let me go back to this and take out... Oh, it's Perrin playing defense. Perrin actually is not that bad for a defenseman forward because he's got 99 defensive awareness, but I don't really want to trust him there, to be honest. And we'll throw in Ramjas Singh and see how that works out. And give Ramjas Singh some NHL time before we'll send him back down to the AHL. Because I would like to play him this year, but part of me doesn't want to play him this year as well. But I want to give him some time in the NHL. He deserves it. And yeah, that is good. Okay. Now let's see how we simulate with that. And AHL wise, I guess we're going to just have to throw in who's scratched. The best defensive forward in the AHL is going to be Chartrand. So Chartrand's going to play some defense. I know that's crap, but we'll still let him go anyways. We shut out Nashville, and then we lose to San Jose. At least we have a lot of days before we play again. So Dingman is actually returned, which means we could send down Fitzpatrick. And yeah, Dingman will be back to full health before next game. So Fitzpatrick will go through waivers, which he does not get claimed, which I'm kind of surprised about. That's kind of good that he didn't get claimed, because at least that keeps our depth in options in case. And we will take out, who did we take out? I don't remember who we took. Fitzpatrick was playing like third line, was it? I don't know, maybe he wasn't even playing. I don't know. We're just not going to even play him right now. And Savonin has also returned from injury, which means we could send back down Ramjit Singh. Everybody getting back to full health, that is good news. Let me take a look actually how Ramjit Singh was playing. He played one game and it was a -2. Yikes. So that guy might not be that good defensively, who knows. So Ramjit Singh back to the AHL, which means we could put back in Savonin, which means I'm going to take out Yakupov first for Savonin. Stewart's also back. And then we're going to take out this part and put in Jose Stewart. And there we go. Perfect. And then we're going to go back down to the AHL in a sec. Let's make sure that's good. Yeah, that is good. We're going to go back down to the AHL. A lot of micromanaging in this episode. Didn't expect this much injuries, to be honest. Ramjit Singh back into the lineup down there. Perfect. And Savonin's full health. That's good. And there we go. 2 more games in a month, and they're both wins, and we're 28, 21, and 2 at February the 1st. Pretty good. We're now in the first wildcard spot in our division and climbing up the standings. Dingman now has 52 points in 50 games. He missed a bit due to injury, but he leads us in points at the moment. And our team is 8-2 in our last 10, so stuff is looking pretty good by comparison to last episode. Glad the team is kind of turning it around, and hopefully they can continue to do so before we get to the deadline. So let's continue simulating, because I think I still want to get the most of the season done in this episode, just because I really want to see who we're up against and see if this team could actually win a Stanley Cup, which I don't really know if that's going to be the case. But let's go another month, see how we play in February. There's a loss, but then we win against LA. We lose to St. Louis. We lose to Philadelphia. We lose to Toronto. Oh my god, now we're losing a lot of games. I don't like that. We have fallen down to the first wildcard spot. Okay, we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. 60 points in 57 games. That's 4 above the Canadiens. And that's also 3 above the New York Rangers. So it's not that bad, but yikes. We're falling apart a little bit here. I don't know if it's our goaltending or what. Like, we're back to full health, yet we're playing not that good. Ooh, jeez. This pairing's not been good either. Do we want to try Savonin on the top 6? I don't know. Because Savonin should be technically the top 4. Huh. I don't really like Rayom at all. Actually, his plus-minus is improved. He's -9 now. So maybe we could try something like that for a change. I don't know if it's because we have too much offensive defensemen, though, because right now we have Wall, Biggs, and Larson, who are all OFDs. And then Savonin, Rayom, and Stewart are all defensive defensemen. We technically don't have any like two-way defenders on this team, which is a little bit weird. I don't know if that's the main reason we're not simulating that well, or if it's just because Punovs is dropping off a cliff in terms of how he's playing. Like, Nguyen's been a lot better than he has, which is really weird. How's Hobbs been? -4. The plus-minus on the forwards has not been that great either. Like, the top 6 has been really good for plus-minus because they score a lot of goals, but when you go to the bottom 6, it's not that great. Hopefully this team can turn it around, because I don't want to lose this many games going into the trade deadline. Like, we have a weirdly weird record. Like, I feel like we're going to finish like 41-40 and like something, or I don't know. We're just going to barely make it into the playoffs somehow. And then if our team somehow wins the Stanley Cup, I'll laugh my ass off, because It'll be nice to be the cheese team for a change, but yeah, I think I still want to get the rest of the season done in this episode, which means maybe making trades at the deadline. We'll see. Another loss, that's not good. We do win there. We're kind of not playing that good going into the deadline. Let's just go right to this day of the deadline. Actually, the day before the deadline, 31-28-2. How are we standings wise? Still in that last wildcard spot by 4 points there. And we are literally tied with Washington for that last playoff spot. But we do have 2 games in hand over them, which is nice. But other than that, it is very, very hard for us to get back into the top 4 probably for our division, because we are 9 points back of them. Like, everybody in our division that's in a playoff spot almost has more points than everybody in the Metropolitan. Oh, this is a little bit scary. Bouillon's got 61 points in 61 games. Let me take a look again at our lines just to see what has been the worst for us for plus minus. It's mostly been the bottom 6. I mean, our lines have been better than they were before. Ooh, I don't like our defensemen at all right now. I don't know what's wrong with our defensive core. Normally we don't have this type of problem. So I think we do need to upgrade somewhere. Like, we probably will go with Savonin back there, but I feel like Rayom, even though his plus minus has been improving, I feel like we do need to find a better top 6 defenseman to go with Larson. Yeah, I think that's what we got to do, because this team is just, I don't know what's the problem really, as I've adjusted the penalty kill unit and all that stuff. So let's advance today and get into this trade deadline already. This episode might be a bit long just because I'm already going to the trade deadline and that, but let's see what happens. We win 8-4 going into the deadline. Let's go in as a buyer, and let's see what there is in terms of top 6 defensemen, because I think that's something that we could use for sure. I know there was one guy in Montreal that was intriguing that I mentioned to Hawks fan, Jean Dupont I think his name was, but the only problem with him is he's signed for 2 years at $6 million, which we're going to need that cap space eventually. So let's just take a look at all teams and go available to see what there is. Larry Cooper, no thank you. I'm looking for a top 6 defenseman. I might have to go through a different screen to see this. We're getting offered... Why are we getting offered Ruzika? I don't need a depth guy. No thank you. That's a weird trade offer. There's Heinola. Didn't Ville Heinola fit our top 4 when I looked last? I think so. Let me go take a look at Ville Heinola. I think Ville Heinola fit our top 4, and he is a 2-way defenseman. Yeah, he fits our top 4. And he would be a rental piece. But to get something like him, I don't know what we'd have to give up. Let me go to the trade finder and see what we'd have to give up to Dallas to get somebody like Ville Heinola, because we maybe need a veteran defenseman, and Heinola is one. What would you want? 2 third-round picks. Pickinen, who's a low top 4, who's probably not going to make it to our team. A third, low top 6 and a third, low top 4 and a third, and a low top 6 and a third. I think I'm going to just accept this one, Pickinen, and a third. And yeah, I'll hope that Ville Heinola helps out our defense, because if he doesn't, then our team is not going to do good. But I need to strengthen our defense, I think, a little bit. So welcome to the team, Ville Heinola. It will send down Mewey to the AHL, but that's okay. And now that we have Ville Heinola on our defense, what does our defense look like? I really hope that Heinola could help us out a little bit. And hopefully Rayom doesn't lose morale if he's scratched, but he probably will. So then we'd have Wall and Stewart, Biggs and Heinola, and then Savonin and Larson, I think, is what we would go with. And then Rayom would be depth, and we'd send down Yakupov. We could always trade Yakupov, but he has like no value whatsoever, so I don't think that is really something we should do. Other than that, do we want to address anything on our forward core? Like Petrovic, we could always upgrade from Petrovic. Like, let me take a look at actually our forward core again for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I kind of want to upgrade still from Dylan Nolan, but he's the best fit on our second line. by comparison to like Wong and Tucker. Huh. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make any trades for our forward core. Alexandrov is actually almost NHL ready, which means we could always call him up at some point if we really need to. So yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. That's the only trade we're going to make, is bringing in Ville Heinola to see if that helps out our defensive core a bit, because right now I think it's been our main problem with our team is keeping that puck out of the net. And this guy's on waivers. Who is this dude? 80 overall depth forward, that's only 27, but it has horrible defensive awareness. Yikes. He does fit our fourth line. Could be a bit of a meme signing or pickup, but I don't think it's really reasonable. So, actually, how did he play in the NHL? He has 8 points in 16 games, but he was probably... he was getting 11 minutes. That's actually pretty good production rate, but I don't really need him, so we're going to decline that. Okay, let's adjust our lineup with the addition of Ville Heinola. I think that probably screwed around with our lines. Maybe not. No, it didn't. Okay, so we got to take Savonin, move him to the top 6, and take out Rayom, because to me he's been disappointing. We'll put in Ville Heinola here, and we will go something like that and see how that works out. Hopefully Heinola is pretty good for our top 4. And then, yeah, Rayom would be depth, and then Perrin and Mui. I guess it did send down Yakupov, actually. Did it send down Yakupov? Yeah, it did. Good. Okay, so we are good on that front, and let me actually take a look. I don't know if Heinola actually fits our penalty kill, but we should probably see if he does. He looks like he's okay at fitting our penalty kill, but now that has a -3 effect. -1 and a -2 instead of a 0 and a -3. I think I'll do that. Just test that out. And yeah, we are good to go. Okay, let's see if this team could actually win games down the stretch now. Or did I make a dumb trade and pick up a dumb defenseman? Hopefully not. Hopefully Heinola could help us get into the playoffs, because we need to upgrade that defense a bit. So let's go to the 1st of March, see if we can win these 2 games left in the month. We win an OT and we win 3-1. Good stuff. Okay, let's take this a little bit slow since we are fighting for one of the last playoff spots. Let's go to the 15th, see if we can win any of these 6 games that we got left. And Savonin has fractured his jaw. Are you kidding me? Gonna go replace player? That is not good. We've been battling injuries all season, but we are winning a lot of games now since the trade that we made. We are now 39, 29, and 3. We win 9-6 over the Montreal Canadiens. Jeez. Where was the defense in that game? But Bouillon's been killing it still. 79 points in 71 games is an 86 overall. That's nice to see. How has Heinola fit into this team so far? I'm kind of curious on that. He has 1 goal in 9 games, but he is a +3, so he's been helping us out on the defensive end, and that's what I brought him in for. So really hoping that he can continue to do that the rest of the season. Hopefully we could still win games without Savonin though, because Savonin is one of our top defensemen, even though he's not been playing like it this season. Let's go to the 25th game against Vegas coming up, as Savonin is back. That's good news. So we'll take out Rayom and go back to Savonin. It sucks that I have to demote Savonin down to the top 6, but I know he could probably play a little bit better with somebody like Larson, I think. There's another win, another win. Okay, we are playing really good hockey as of late. Now this team is playing good, and hopefully we can play like this in the playoffs. We are in that last wildcard spot with 89 points. We are 17 points above the Montreal Canadiens, so we don't need to worry about them, I don't think. And then the Penguins have 78 points. We are way above them as well. So we are pretty close to clinching a playoff spot. Same with the Sens, but we will have probably one of the last playoff spots in the division. So that's kind of intriguing. Bouillon's still killing it. 87 points in 75 games. He might hit 100 points. Doubt he will, but he might hit 100 points this season. Let's go to the 1st. We should be clinching a playoff spot soon. There's another win over the Bruins. And Francis Nguyen has fractured his collarbone, which means Mui's going to be playing backup in the playoffs for a bit. We're now 45, 30, and 3. And we have clinched a playoff spot. Let's go. Our division is so tight for the top 5 though. 93 points and 98 is the top team, which means we could technically still finish as the best team in the division at any rate, but I doubt that's going to happen. Only one team in the Metropolitan is clinched so far. Let's continue to simulate, get these last few games done, but Mui's going to have to be our backup for the first round just because Nguyen is out with an injury. There's another win, another win, another win, and an OT loss. So a really good last half of the season, because when we started this episode, we were 19-19-2, I think it was. So we literally went almost 30 games. So we went 29, I think, if I'm doing the math right. 29-11-2 down the stretch, I think. And we finished third best in our division with 100 points. So we jumped up the standings quite a bit. We actually beat out the Lightning during the regular season, but that doesn't matter really at all. And we also beat out the Sens. Nice. So now that the season is done, let's take a look at our player stats and then the team stats and see who we're up against in the first round, because I am kind of scared that it could be Tampa Bay again, but I don't think it is. So center-wise, we have Caden Matthews with 90 points in 82 games. This is the best season for Caden Matthews yet, and I forgot that his contract is actually up for renewal, which means we are going to have to give him a pretty big contract this offseason, but he will be worth it, I think, because he's been pretty good for us. If we were to lose him, Koleinen would be a good first liner probably, but still. Koleinen 71 points this year. A little bit dropping off in terms of production, but he's still got 265 points already. Pure playmaker that he is. 48 points for Powell, minus 11. Pretty good second season from him as well. 93 points in his career already. Hobbs has got 21 points in 82 games. He was an even 0 in his first season, so actually pretty impressed with Calvin Hobbs for his first year. He might be just a solid fourth line option for us for many years to come. And then Perrin had 2 goals in 6 games as a depth guy. Left wing wise, DeKaiser 79 points in 82 games, 47 of which were goals. Glad I re-signed this guy. He's a pretty good goal scorer for this team. After we lost somebody like Svechnikov, he did step up a little bit. Tucker 30 points in 82 games. By comparison to last year, it's a little bit less, but he is still playing pretty good. His plus minus has still been a little bit of a problem for him, but still not too bad. Petrovic 30 points as well. Pretty good considering he has been more of a depth option for us for many years, like for our fourth line and whatnot. But he's been pretty consistent for us. And then Wong, 24 points in 82 games and a minus 2. He only had 22 penalty minutes, but for some reason he's a grinder, so that's kind of weird. Interesting. Right wing wise, Bouillon had 98 points and he hit 50 goals for the second time, almost the third straight season for him with 50 goals. That's pretty impressive. Oh man, I am so glad I traded for this guy, but he might end up retiring at a younger age for some reason. I feel like that's the case. He did jump up to an 88 because of statistical. And then Dingman, 88 points. He had 30 goals this year. Pretty good from Caden Dingman. This is his best season so far as well. His contract is up next offseason, not this offseason. Nolan picked it up, it looks like a little bit. 49 points in 82 games, and he was a plus 19, so he was actually pretty decent on both ends of the ice. Not too bad, I guess. And then Ouellette, 20 points in 82 games. Defensively, Wall had 70 points in 78 games. Jeez, this is his best season so far. I forgot that we signed him to a one-year deal, so he might be on his way out for sure this offseason, just because he's going to probably want like another $13 million contract, and if we need to hand out one to, Matthews, I feel like Wall is going to probably be on his way out. But he is playing a lot better as of the last few seasons. And then Biggs, 48 points. That's a pretty good season from Biggs. He is signed for another 2 seasons after this. But he's playing a little bit better as well, looks like. Because he was averaging like 20 to 30 points, and now he's up above 40 points. So kind of liking that. Heinola with us. How much did he put up? He put up 3 points in 20 games. He was a plus 5, so that's pretty nice. Definitely helped us out defensively. Hopefully he could do that in the playoffs. Stewart, 25 points in 80 games and a plus 42. Jose Stewart is a machine on defense. Like, literally, look at that plus minus stat for the last 2 years. He's literally a plus 107 in 2 seasons. Wow. And then Larson was a -15, but he had 15 points this year. Rayom had 11 points in 68 games, -9. Savonin had 9 points and was a -11. And then goaltending-wise, Punovs was not that great. Yeah, I don't know if Punovs, like, we could qualify him and then just find a new goalie, but Punovs had a really bad year by comparison to last year. Hopefully he could play good in the playoffs again like he did, even though we lost last year. And then Nguyen, a 907 and a 2.72 is pretty solid. And he was 15-5-1, so that's pretty good. But Mui was not good at all as a depth goaltender. 0-3. Yikes. Like, he started off his career pretty good when he played a little bit in the NHL, but he's not been as good the last little while. Let's take a look at the entire league for points just so we can see all that stuff. This is probably going to be like a 30-minute episode. Oh my god, you gotta be joking me. Oh my god. The best goaltender this year. I wasn't going to even look at goalies yet, but 50 wins for Rohan House on the season. He finishes with the most wins in the entire NHL. He also was up there for shutouts. Save percentage-wise, he was up at the #1 goaltender for starters. And goals against per game, he was the best for starters. So, Rohan House is going to be winning a Vezina now. Man, Rohan House is such a insult to the wound because he did not play that great with us, and then we literally had to trade him. And he ends up playing like that. Ends up winning the Stanley Cup last year, and then puts up 50 wins, and he's probably going to win a Vezina this year. His contract is actually probably a steal. My god. Oh, that hurts a lot. Let's go by defenseman for points. So the best defenseman this year was Rasmus Dahlin with 88 points. Then Kondraitov, Merkley, Tartukin, and Wall were all there with 77 points. Best forward for points was Caden Ricci with 106 points, Keller 105, and Pete with 101. Best goal scorer this year was Braden Henley with 59 goals. Jeez, there's some really crazy players in this franchise mode. Best plus-minus was Austin Matthews at a +51. And yeah, that's pretty much all we need to look at. Okay, let's take a look at the standings stuff just to see how we played during the year. So in terms of the entire league, we finished 7th best in the NHL. And we had 300 goals for 3.66 per game. So we were one of the best offensive teams, which is really nice to see that because we did lose Svechnikov in the offseason. Goals against per game wise, we were actually not that bad. It looks like we were bad, but we're right around the mid-table. So I guess we had okay goaltending. But the #1 goaltending is not Anaheim, actually. It's St. Louis. Power play wise, let's see, what was our power play like? I didn't even see what our percentage was like at all. Where are we? Looks like our power play was not good unless, yeah, it must have just skipped us. I always manage to somehow overlook where we are. Oh, we were actually up there. We were the 4th best power play with 28%, tied with the San Jose Sharks. That's pretty good to see that our power play is clicking. And in penalty kill wise, it looks like that was... Wow, actually we had one of the best penalty kills in the league. Are you kidding me? We had one of the best penalty kills at 79.4%. Usually the penalty kills I see are always like above 50%, I think. But 79.4, we were literally a top 10 penalty killing team. We only had 3 shorthanded goals. We were better on the road than on home ice. And we're 8-1-1 in our last 10. Okay, now let's take a look at who we're going up against. This is the moment of truth. Who are we taking on in the first round of the playoffs? It is going to be the Buffalo Sabres. Oh man, this is going to be tough. So at least it's not Tampa Bay, but Buffalo has been a very consistent team as of the last few years because they've won a few Stanley Cups and they had a very good roster when they did win cups. It means we're going to be taking on like the Norris Trophy winning defenseman and Rasmus Dahlin. Like, it's not going to get really that easy if we want to win this first round playoff matchup. But let's take a look at what the roster looks like now. It might have probably degraded a bit because I think some guys have retired since and they've lost some guys to free agency. So top line, they have Nicholas Lundin, who used to be drafted by the Edmonton Oilers. How good is this guy? 94 points. Yikes. They also have Yanni Kukkonen. I remember this guy. Yeah, 91 points. This guy's pretty insane. And then they also have Maxime Gauthier-Leduc. Interesting. Second line, Casey Mittelstadt with Jack Eichel and Kim Sonnenberg. So they do still have some guys that they had from year one, which is kind of cool. Third line, Marty Larson, Kirby Doc, and Oliver Bjorkstrand. So they do have a good mix of veterans and young guys. And then fourth line wise, they have Clinton Vallette, Dylan Kostopoulos, and Adrian De Silva. Interesting. In terms of overall ratings, I think they got us beat just because they got a lot of better top 6 options, but we have them beat in terms of how good our fourth line is, I think. Defensively, yeah, they're a little bit worse on defense as well, but we've seen defenses like this beat us before in Tampa Bay. They got Rasmus Dahlin and Adam Fox, Jake Bean and Dennis Chalowski, who used to play with us way back in the beginning. He played with us up until 21-22. Before we traded him to Pittsburgh, and then he went to Winnipeg, and now he's been in Buffalo for the last 5 years. Interesting. Also, Vyacheslav Korostin, Todd Johnson on defense, and goaltending-wise, they have Lincoln Marlowe. Why do I recognize that name? Where did he play? Oh yeah, he was in Ottawa for a bit. Forgot about that. And Nathan Kemp. Depth-wise, they have Dustin Simpson, Nathan Laguerre, and Hanyu Herme. So overall-wise, this team looks pretty similar to what Tampa Bay was like, so I'm kind of a bit scared that we could probably get eliminated, but who knows, maybe with this team could turn it around this year and maybe go farther than the first round for a change. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode. So next episode, we will take it to round 1 against the Buffalo Sabres as we look to maybe get to a second round appearance for the first time in quite a long time. So let me know what you guys think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.